There we go.
There we go.
There we go. Yeah, I'll figure out technology by the end of maybe this year. You'd think I would understand it
Totally.
by now.
What's up, guys?
There he is. Oh yeah, Mr. Hi-Fi. Love it, dude.
Yeah. What's up, guys? How you doing?
Hey man.
Doing good, man. Doing good. You got keys on top of keys. Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, you see the keys on top of the keys
That, that's dope,
on
dude.
with the things, man. Trying to get it right in this crazy digital age that we've got.
I know where you can just kind of flip the switch and it's on, and like everything is kind of on. It took me a little while to settle into a similar thing where it's like,
Yeah,
okay, just
that
flip
looks
this on,
dope back there,
got the
man.
lights and the things, and my little neon sign in the back. I'm just squaring up something here, fellas. I totally apologize, but
Yeah, no worries.
I thought I had
What's up,
cleared
Chris?
my
How are you, man?
calendar. Um,
Javier, it's good to see you. Yeah. How you
Yeah,
doing, man?
man. Good to officially get to say what's up, man. Been a fan for a long time, brother.
Likewise.
Good to uh
Absolutely.
good to get to
Likewise.
chat.
I know.
Absolutely.
I'm so. I remember when I reached out to Javi, he said he mentioned that, and I was like, oh, that's crazy, man,
Yeah,
because
we've never met.
Yeah.
we all kind of have that in common, actually, is that we all co-wrote a song without ever, you know, never
Without
putting
ever
that.
actually co-writing a
Right.
song.
Yeah, that happened, and in a similar fashion. I was working on my EP's worth of tunes after The Voice, and got with Sam Farrar from Maroon
Yeah, man.
5. And
Yeah.
he had a
Love
track that,
Sam.
yeah, he had a track that he and Chris had kind of been, they got started on it, and it was just that
Yeah, that was all
it
we had.
had the hook and the title kind of thing, and then but Sam was really feeling the track, and we kind of revisited it, and I'm like, well, so if you can get Chris's blessing for us to revisit this, well, we'll certainly call it a co-write for sure. So
Man,
Right.
that song turned out great, dude. And
that's fun.
jo geez, Javier, I feel like I'm so glad that you got Raise Your Hand because you just crushed that song, man. It sounds so good.
Oh, thank you, man. You guys wrote a freaking ridiculous song. I loved it from the moment Andrew played it for me, and I said that I want that one. I said we
Nice,
gotta,
man.
you
Man,
know,
it's
yeah,
you
it
just
was so
sound
good.
phenomenal on it. And I
Thanks,
think
man.
it's the only time I've ever gotten to like play on somebody else's record.
Oh, for real?
Because I think that guitar track is from the thing we did that day. So
Oh, it could be. Oh, the acoustic guitar track?
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Gotcha, gotcha.
yeah.
That's
I played it on a little like Baby Taylor.
No
nice.
kidding.
It's
Yeah.
the funny story behind that is actually I tried to replay it, and
Oh, really?
but Andrew didn't like the way that I was playing it.
Oh no.
He didn't like the way he didn't like my interpretation of it. He wanted it like exactly like what you did, and I was trying to kind of just do a little variation of it, and he wasn't having it. He was like,
Well,
"No,
dude, I mean, we all get in that like stuck in our heads with the demos
right?
vibe.
Yeah, oh,
So
absolutely." The demoitis
it's
we
hard.
call it.
Demoitis is real,
It's
man.
a
It's a
real
real
thing.
thing.
For sure.
It is.
Well, fellas, man, I want to be sensitive to your time and can't thank you enough for it. So thank you
No
guys.
worries.
This is super cool, and word's been getting out that this was coming down the pike. I haven't even announced who was going to be on this yet, but I've sold some tickets to it, which is pretty cool. But like I debated about doing this subject and trying to do this because having been in the reality TV lane, it's like you it just becomes part of your thing and part of your baggage and part of like the albatross around your neck for the remainder of your career, and sometimes you don't want to talk about it, but I figure like because we all kind of share that common vernacular, it might make for a little more candid discussion about it, and
Yeah.
but as well, like I'm all about shining the spotlight on folks and what they're doing now and all that. So we'll get into all that. The way it works, we just pre-tape this whole thing here, just like this, and I will, be editing it extensively, but probably cutting it up into 3, maybe 4, depending on how long we go, segments that we'll broadcast during the live stream and that we'll cut back to and stuff. So, intercutting with performance footage from you guys as well. So yeah, just a few random, we'll kind of do like a welcome to the show kind of thing for the camera here, and then we'll get into the discussion, and then similarly we'll say, peace out for the camera. I'll stop the recording, and then we'll get a legitimate, honest parting of ways. But that's it, man. Other than that, just if there's anything that either of you want to make sure we steer clear of, I don't imagine that there's anything too taboo.
Anything related to the voice. Oh, wait a minute. No.
I don't want to talk about the voice.
All voice related stuff.
Yeah. We just can't mention the voice at all.
That's brilliant, man. Right. Totally. Okay, cool. Well, all right, then let's rock it. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Moverb Lounge. We have Mr. Chris Allen. Yeah, man, what's up, dude? Good to see you.
It's good to see you, Tony. How's it going?
It's going really good, man. And Javier Colon. My God.
Hey guys, how are you?
This is proper, man. This is I'm just it's like in the reality TV contest thing. You guys are two names that obviously pop up towards the top of everyone's list when they start talking about success stories that emerged. And I'm honored to have you both here, man. I figured it could be kind of fun to dive into various aspects that maybe don't get so as discussed, when you get your I'll say your typical interview over the years that we've all kind of experienced, where people want to ask you the low hanging fruit questions, and maybe we'll dig a little deeper under the hood. But before we do, man, I'm curious how you guys are holding up here, like I guess sort of in the wake of what's been one of the most unimaginable times of all of our lives. But the COVID experience, how was that for you guys? Like, how did it impact your creative side, your personal side, spiritual side? Like, what was the end takeaway from it all? Javi, how about you go first, man?
Sure, man. It was crazy. I mean, just it wasn't something that was even on my radar of being in the realm of possibility that we'd have this situation that would shut everything down and completely stop all business pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's once I kind of wrapped my head around the idea that I was going to be home for a while. I said, well, I guess we're gonna have to start doing some online shows. And I pretty quickly, within the first couple of weeks of being home, I said, let me kind of try to get my setup a little better. I had already done some Facebook Live stuff, little Instagram Live stuff, but nothing that really sounded, anything, decent really. So, got a couple other pieces of equipment, before all the webcams sold out.
Right.
And then I started doing some Facebook Live shows, and I ended up doing like 16 Facebook Live weeks of what I called the quarantine concert series.
Mm-hmm.
And I had some special guests on. I found a way to do some recording. Would have them pre-record, and then I would sing with that recording live, so it would look like we were doing some live live duets and stuff. It was pretty fun, and that kept me busy for the first few months. And I was kind of doing some other little virtual things for corporations and for charities and stuff here and there, but spending a lot of quality time with the family. As crazy as things were, for me, one of the things I will remember most is being able to spend an entire year and 2 weeks without having to leave my family. It had never happened. My kids are 13, 11, and 8, and they've never had me home for a year, where I could literally kiss them, to bed, tuck them in every night. It didn't happen. So that is something that I will definitely remember. Obviously there's a lot of sad to remember, a lot of, a lot of stuff, between, social injustice stuff and obviously COVID. But to have that time with my family was pretty special. So
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I have said it a number of times, but kind of referred to it as this weird tapestry of silver linings, like it just kind of crazy how so many things emerged out of this that we just would never have imagined in a million years. But yeah, man, similar stories, man. Chris, how about you? What's the roller coaster been like for you?
Pretty similar stuff. I mean, I think at first I was supposed to go to Europe. Actually, me and David Cook were supposed to go to Europe, and we were excited about that. And I got put on hold, and we rescheduled it 4 times. And I think like the idea of just having to stay home from that at first, because that was happening at the beginning of last year, or like right whenever quarantine stuff started happening, like in April and the end of March. And
Mm.
I just got, I think I got really antsy and really uncomfortable just being at home, because I think my body and my soul was supposed to be somewhere else. And I, it took me a while to get over that. I was getting like uh aggravated with my kids and I probably wasn't that fun to be around for a little bit. But then once I kind of got over all that stuff and just got over myself and just kind of fell into being at home, I loved it. I mean, this is the most, I mean, like you said, Javier, like this is the most I've been home in 11, 12 years, something like that.
Hmm.
And honestly, I've I've loved it so much. I love being with my kids. I got 3 kids, and I just love just watching them grow and helping my wife out. And I love doing that stuff and being a dad and
Yeah.
walking them to school every day, and when they've been able to go to school. So that stuff's been good. As far as like music stuff, at first it was hard for sure, and then I told myself, I was like, I got to be creative. So I made some of these instrumentals, and I enjoyed that. And then me and my buddy Andy Skibb just started working on like producing music, and so and we're planning on putting a bunch of songs out this year. So it's exciting stuff.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
man. Yeah, that's so true because it's like you have a whole new appreciation for the family dynamic when you're not there. You're just like to try and imagine going peace out for like 2 weeks, 2 months right now, and imagine what that knowing what would happen to the family dynamic without you there now is I
Yeah,
think for a lot of artists they're gonna be like, you maybe we're gonna have to
yeah,
ease into this, like COVID or no COVID. We're gonna have to ease back into like how to get this rhythm back because
Right.
man, I know that my family is a whole nother machine right now than it's ever
Right.
been.
Right.
And that's obviously a wonderful thing, but it does pose like a bigger issue going forward with
yeah.
contemplating traveling and stuff. But
Man, 100%. When I had my first flight I took out was to I had a private show in Wyoming in end of March, and so I hadn't flown since March 9th of the year before. So I was home a good year and 2 weeks, and a couple days before I was kind of getting this feeling like, man, this might suck. This might not. I don't think I want to go. So I was putting my 8 year old to bed. He's the sappiest one. He's like, he's the youngest, so he's the only one I've got left that actually like, cares as much if daddy leaves. So um, I said to him, I said, hey, his name's Matthias. I said, Matthias, daddy's got to leave for a show in a couple days, and I don't know. I don't think I'm excited to go because I don't really want to leave.
Mm,
And and he said, "Oh, I don't want you to go either, Daddy." And I said, "Well, I have to because I have to kind of get back to work when I can." But um, what we just basically hugged it out, and that was it. I gave him a kiss goodnight, and that was it. And then the 2 days later, I was actually leaving, and it was 5 in the morning, and I was rolling my little uh, my little luggage down the hallway. I got down the stairs. I almost got out the door, and I hear his little voice at the top of the stairs. He's like, "Daddy," and I was like, "Oh!" And he got me, man. And I just bawled and went back up the stairs and held him for like 5 minutes before I left. Whew. But that's what
yeah,
when
yeah,
you go back to work, and that's what that's what's going to happen. And it's
yeah,
unfortunately I have an amazing wife who holds it down, I mean, so incredibly well.
yeah.
More that's not even doesn't even do it justice what she does. But um it's that's gonna when I have to do it over and over and over again, that's gonna be tough for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole new horizon, man, and but just I think there's also been a lot of like soul searching. Everyone's done quite a bit of that through this time, and I think the conversations I keep having with people about reentry, as we kind of refer to it, is like re-examining our intentions and the quality of what we're doing, the time we're spending, and how we're spending it, and where we're putting our best foot, and it's interesting, and I hope that we're all able to make as valuable and beautiful an opportunity of it, because like this has been a once in a lifetime thing, and you only get to emerge from a once in a lifetime
Let's hope
pandemic.
so.
Let's hope so, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's hope so.
like let's try to get this right. If we get to start fresh, let's do it right. But yeah, man, I was putting together themes for this season of the Moverb Lounge, and again, I'm sure maybe you guys have gathered by now, but this was sort of this is where I landed during COVID. Same thing. I was doing the Facebook thing and kind of putting the virtual tip jar thing out there, the Venmo and the PayPal thing,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're trying to find that saturation point, like how much is too much? What do I have the bandwidth for? What's fulfilling for me? And
Right,
then,
right.
what was awesome was we created this community, and then this, I'm sure you guys can attest to it. The same people keep showing up, and then next thing you know, they're talking to each other, and they're becoming like this really beautiful fabric of a family. And so I was like, well, let's just take this little family over to this thing, and we'll call it something different, and we'll kind of legitimize it a bit and raise the up the ante on it, and improve the quality, like you said, Javi. So you want to like, because we're professional and we're used to doing like a show, and putting on a show.
Yeah.
Whereas like the basement thing is sitting in front of the mic, and the computer was like, this is cool, but I think I could be doing more, and I think we could make this a more equitable thing. And so yeah, that's where the Mover Lounge sessions came from. But this is the season 3 of it now already, and
Nice.
yeah, so I was thinking of themes for the season, and I was like, I've always kind of had this idea, whether it was a podcast or something, called Reality Stars Collide. Where like you take a couple different people from different reality shows, and you like, bring them together to compare notes, I guess. And so I thought maybe, Team Idol, Team Voice, we could have a little roundtable thing.
Underrepresented over here.
Well, I was trying to get David on,
I know, I know.
and he was this close. I thought we had him, and then we'd have a real four-way conversation. But one thing that I think is a common question. There's a difference between having no regrets to having done something like that versus like I'd do it all again in a heartbeat. It's like, oh, hang on a second, let's not go there. But I know, like personally, there's when I look back through the long lens of history, look back on my time doing that and the impact it's had on things. I often wonder, is there has there been something that has stayed with you that you would have done differently, that maybe had you done it differently there might have been some sort of trajectory impact that might have had an impact? And again, no, not looking like a regrets and that kind of thing, but like objectively looking back, knowing that maybe a certain point where you pivoted a particular way, and had you pivoted the other way, things may have been different for better or worse. If that like puts any food for thought in your head, but if either you have an answer, go ahead.
I mean, other than maybe some like song choices and maybe some outfits, um, I feel like for me, it would have just been having a grasp, like a better grasp on what who I was as an artist, right after the show. I think I was pretty good about doing that on the show, but I had a lot of voices, for better or for worse, like just in my head at all times, saying like, we need this, or we need this, or I don't know, or maybe you need to have this type of song. Like, I wish I would have like had a better grasp on who I was as an artist at the beginning, because I listened to that first record that I put out, which happened so fast,
Mm.
right after Idol. I think that show ended in May. We put out a 13 song record, which we wrote most of the songs for in November, and first single, and it was done in August or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's so fast, and which is fine, and I understand why they do those things. They got to strike while it's hot, you know. But it just had a better grasp on who I was as an artist, and those I think that would have put me in a happier place.
Yeah.
You know, musically.
For sure.
Nice. For me, you know, I'm a firm believer in what's meant to be is meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but you know, I look back at it. You know, there's definitely some moments that happened, some song choice stuff, some disagreements with the record label. You know, where they wanted me to go one way, and I was like, you know, not feeling it at all. Uh, you know, what some people don't know is that I had a record deal before The Voice. I had released an album in '03 and '06 on Capitol Records. They didn't do as well as we wanted them to do. I ended up getting dropped. And then for 5 years, I was trying to find a way back into the business, and you know, couldn't get back in. Nobody wanted to sign me. And then this Voice thing comes along that I had no desire to do whatsoever, uh, but got talked into it by friends and family. And I said, okay, fine. I'll give it a shot, you know, and then that all happened, and it was amazing. So, but because of having the albums before, you know, I had an idea of who I was, and having, you know, my two girls and my wife at the time, you know, I was pretty solid on who I wanted to be, at least, you know, or maybe what I didn't want to be, I should say.
Sure.
I knew what I didn't want to be.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
you know, then you have the record label kind of pushing and saying, hey, why don't you do this song about, you know, just stuff that does not fit with the person that I was on the show, who was myself. I mean, I got to be myself on the show.
Yeah.
And I just didn't feel that these songs represented the person that, you know, all these people saw and voted for, and the person who I really am. So I do wonder sometimes, you know, what would have happened if I had gone with this one song that they wanted me to go to, that I was like, absolutely not. And they even did the you know, I will, you know, just go in and record it, and then we'll, you know, just record it for us, and we'll, you know, we won't use it unless you get your permission. I'm like, I know that does not say that in the contract, that you can use it whenever you want. So no, I will not record it, and you will not, you know, release, because I knew that they wanted it so bad, they were willing to pay me just to record it. And I was like, okay,
Wow.
if you're willing to give me tens of thousands of dollars to just, you know, have me record the song, that means that I know you really want to release it. So
Yeah.
that made me say no even faster. It was like, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, there's the quintessential Crossroads moment, you know,
Right.
like, you know,
Right.
I went gone down to Crossroads and I coughed it up because they paid
Gosh.
tens of thousands of
Right,
dollars.
right, right.
Like
But
Was
yeah.
I do wonder
was
what
it
would
like a
happen.
Timberland song or something? Like,
No, no.
geez, like,
It was another really well known artist though that wrote it. But
okay,
I won't. I'll tell you
that's totally
later.
fine.
But
So,
it was someone else that they trusted. I mean, it's an amazing artist. I mean, when I tell you, you'll be like, oh my god.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
why did you sing
it
that
just wasn't
song?
the
Yeah,
song. It just wasn't the song for me. You know what I
Well,
mean?
because
And
it's, you know,
totally.
it's a confusing time, even for artists, you know, that like yourself, who had a track record,
Yeah.
and it's in a similar vein, you know, like when I look back on it, I sometimes when I, you know, when I would kind of get like down on myself about some aspect about it, like I think the frustrating thing was like that I had done so much up to that point.
Yeah.
Why did I allow myself to be so malleable in
Right.
this experience and this opportunity? And it is this weird juxtaposition of being like, you want to be a well-rounded artist, you want to be able to kind of be diverse, you know, during the show, because that shows that you can do all these different things. But like,
Right.
you know, it's almost like the more talented you are, the more difficult it becomes to put you into a marketable, viable commodity. I mean, like, how many singers out there can you know, boast having sung with both, you know, Derek Trucks and Anthony Hamilton? I mean, that's pretty incredible. I guess, you know, like
Thank you.
that's just a lot. But it's also like, what do we do with that? How do we find our marketable version of that guy, you know? And you're like, I want the success thing. That's why I did this show. But like, that's counter to my narrative, and I feel in breach of who I am, and it's, man, we went through the same paces, man. I mean, to both of you spoke to pretty much my experience as well. It was the same thing where you're just like, man, like, okay, let's, you want me to do an outside song? Sure. I mean, I just got off doing The Voice where I did an outside song every week.
You're right.
Like,
You're right.
Mm.
I'm not above it, but like, are we doing it just because you guys think this is the formula, or are we doing it because it's better than the songs I've got? And I got a lot of songs here.
Yeah.
And you just left with that sort of like, oh God, this doesn't feel as fun and cool as I was hoping it was going to feel, man. But I think I've obviously, to try and qualify or quantify fulfillment is almost impossible. And I think, here we all are, and watching you guys over the years and what you've done and how
Yeah.
you remained, honest and true to who you are, and your families and stuff. I mean, you'll never put a price tag on that, nor should you. So I
Right.
dig that. The next one was, I've always joked, I always say reality is a loose term in reality TV, and that there's actually a lot more surreality behind the scenes. And I thought maybe you guys, if either of you can think of an anecdote or some aspect of the whole process, the star maker machinery that is reality TV. If there were certain aspects that along the way you were like, what? That's how they do this? Or, oh, really? Oh, it's like that. Um,
Right.
I don't know if there was a lot of that.
Um, one thing that comes to mind is, when we're taping the shows, the first parts of the Voice, where they have you, where they're showing, the folks walking into the performance, on the red carpet, and doing like the backstage, like hanging out, like that nervous thing, like before you go on.
Mm-hmm.
They would actually have us pre-tape that, so we would get dressed. I think 3 days of the week. So we got dressed in our show clothes, and then we'd go to set, and we would do just the walking in section,
Yeah.
and everyone would take their turn walking down the red carpet, and that was our day. Like, that's what we did,
Yeah.
for that afternoon, was the walking in thing. And then the next day you had to wear your show clothes again, and then do just the backstage pacing before you go on. That, and now it might be very different than it is now, because we were, the pilot season, we were the first season,
Yeah.
so maybe they just didn't have the manpower, they didn't have the cameras and all of the equipment that they needed to be able to have all of these things happening at the same time,
Yeah.
as they should, and as people believe that they do. But for our season, it was, I was like, wow, we got to get, this is 3 days, but it's really it's one day to everybody else, but it's 3 days to us.
Yeah.
I thought it was
Wow.
pretty interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys didn't have to do that, Chris.
We did not. I will say for the most part, Idol was. Um, I'm sure. I'm sure that there were strings being pulled like behind the scenes that I never saw, and I will never know. Um, but for the most part, it all felt pretty honest and real, um, to my knowledge. I would say, like, for me, it was all just like the size of it all. I mean, you watch this show back at home, and it all seems so big. It all seems so grandiose. It seems, and you're at home watching these, this massive stage, and this huge band. And I remember walking out for the first time and seeing the stage, and the first like live shows that we did, they were tiny, like smaller than this room, like tiny, like maybe half the size. Like, they were so small, and it blew my mind. It actually made me feel better. And there's probably 30 or 40 people in the audience. Now they got a little bit bigger as the show got on
Mm.
with the big stage, but it was still like, from what it looks like, it just felt so small, and it felt like I was playing a show.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I never really cared about the cameras or anything like that. It actually made it better for me that it felt smaller. It just made it feel like it was this, more intimate experience. Now, it was all bizarre and it felt like the Hunger Games, but it was it just was yeah, I don't know. I would say like I was very skeptical about everything feeling very scripted and whatnot.
Mm.
As far as like what Seacrest or like Simon and all those people are saying. Again, maybe there are like things that I'm not seeing, but as far as like uh, you know, like actual real moments that would happen on the show, I, they felt very real to me. And Ryan would like Seacrest is perfect at being a host, and I I would say that he does have a script, but he's so good in the moment too, at like just um, getting like the most emotion or the most out of a moment and being just so great for TV. He's I mean, if not the best of all time at doing that. And he was very genuine as a person too. So um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's bizarre. It all
Right.
just felt crazy.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Chris,
definitely they. I would say Ryan Seacrest has got like that Dick Clark gene, you know, he's
he
just
Yeah.
really does.
eternally youthful, and Carson's pretty good too. I'll say, Carson does a really good job of doing that juggling in real time thing and
Right.
pulling all the elements together and kind of remembering like this. Wow, the I think the most one of the most impressive things about. Um, the voice man was the band and
Mm.
those Paul Merkovich and his
My dudes.
my God, those dudes were like, and they'd be so interesting to encounter when you would see these guys, because they would almost seem standoffish and like musician
Mm.
snobby almost, but like it wasn't that. They're really rad dudes. They're really super cool, and when you're in the creative space with them, you get to be a part of that coolness. But otherwise, they're just watching scores of music fly through their heads at all times, because they're like a Rolodex, like it is, they're like a literally like a just press play Spotify playlist kind of thing at all times, and being able to transpose songs in the last minute, and then
Right.
like they cut that song, we're doing this song now, and not having sort of like taking that personally kind of thing. And I mean, it's a whole nother caliber of gigs that I've ever experienced, and
Those
I
guys
just,
are, yeah, they're
you know,
insane.
yeah,
Insanely talented.
and I was really really happy that as a musician, as a fellow musician, and not just some young kid who really wants to be a singer, like, and not casting any judgment on those kids, but like
Yeah.
they're kind of oblivious to, to all this stuff that was going on, and I was just like honored to share the stage with those cats, man. That was
Right.
really
Right.
really amazing thing, man.
It,
When
it
you
felt.
talk about that, like um my experience was the same. I felt like those guys, obviously, you're in awe of their talent and their like professionalism
Mhm.
and all that. But me, I was coming up with my own arrangements of songs
Mhm.
and like changing up stuff. And I mean, maybe like a little bit too confidently, I would go up to them and tell them like, "Hey, this is how we're going to do the song," and they never looked at me crazy. Like we had Ricky Minor, who's one of the
Yeah,
like greatest MDs of all time,
yeah,
Right.
and he never looked at me like I was crazy because I wanted to change up the song. He was just like, "Yeah, man. So this maybe for this song we'll have just you and a a conga player like come out and play this song because that's kind of the arrangement that you have for this tune." And it's just like I always felt like respected as a musician by them, and they're they didn't scoff at my ideas, even though maybe they should have at times.
Now, see, I feel like that's they probably thought the world of that. They probably were excited to see that because it's probably not it's not the norm that
Right.
all the artists that they're working with, they have to come up with the arrangements, or they have to ask the
Mm.
coach, or as far as the voice is concerned, how how you want them to do this. But for you to be able to go and say, look, if you guys can just do this and this and this, I think they appreciate that. I had to do that for my the first song that I sang on the show was Time After Time, and I wanted to start it by myself. I thought it was important
Mm.
that I just play the guitar, and and it just guitar and vocal, and they could grow from there. But that's kind of how I wanted to start it. And at first they were like, no, we can't do that because everybody has to, you have to be on a click. And I was like, I don't want to click. I just want to play
Yeah.
and they follow me. You know what I mean? And it was like a big deal, that I wanted it just to be that, because it also, for timing issues, it's live. Well, it wasn't live TV. They could edit that first one, but they wanted it all to be kind of, everybody's supposed to get the same amount of time and everything. But they let me do it, and I was the only person that didn't
Mm.
have a click to, to start my song. So, and I think that the band appreciates that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The drummer, Nathaniel Morton, had played with me when I was back in my first gigs on Capitol Records. So I didn't have him for too long, but he's a friend. So I saw him and I'm like, that's amazing. We got Nate on the drums.
Yeah.
That's cool.
pretty surreal
That dude's a
feeling to see
beast,
somebody that
man.
in
Yeah.
this strange
Well,
space that you're
yeah,
in.
like and that whole aspect of top secrecy and
Mm.
no advantages. They're trying to keep an even playing field for everybody.
Right,
You
right,
know, I think both like I got my start as a kid in TV and was on the Mickey Mouse Club thing and we filmed that down in Orlando. And the stage manager that we had down there has since gone on to become the guy. Like he does all the Oscars, he does the Emmys. He's the number one, the head stage manager of all these major productions. And the first day I go out to sound check for my blind audition, it was actually my first time on the Voice stage. I step out there, and who's on the other side of the stage but my friend, this stage manager, and his name's Gary Natoli,
yeah.
and he comes walking up, and I'm like, Gary, like I was gonna give him a big hug, and he just goes, Tony, right,
Right, right. We don't know each other right now.
got it, thanks. But it's like like, oh, it feels so good to know somebody and be like, ah,
Oh yeah.
have those little inside secrets going on at all times.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, it's both of you having been winners, and in season two, they each that was when they were still adhering to the formula that each coach would have a finalist. And then that
Mm.
would be the final episode. I think they later learned. The problem with the Voice is they kept tweaking with their formula. I think they're still tweaking with their formula, and they're 20,000
Absolutely.
seasons in. But like
Absolutely.
that they kept trying to change the dynamic and get down in like Idol, where you've got two finalists, that kind of thing. And so, um, but that season two, that meant that as Adam's finalist, I got to be on the show for the duration of the season, and I know that you guys got to experience that as well. Where like, you know, uh, it's exciting. Like you said, here you are, you're in this thing, you're getting down the wire, you're like, oh my God. But it's also like by that point, it's kind of a grind. It's
Mm.
kind of a marathon. You're like, I'm good, guys. Can we just wrap this thing up? Whether I win or not, I'm like, I kind of want to get
Let's get
home.
this over with. Yeah.
Right.
And what a weird thing to kind of confess, when that is the thing, everyone's gunning to win this thing, but it's like, I think people don't realize how much work television production is, and
Yeah.
that like all of these moving parts, the production grid on a show like that, is insane. And yet, when it comes time for you to get out there, grab the mic and sing your song and be on key and know your lyrics and stuff, it's like, wow, that ain't easy. you know
Right.
what a weird
Yeah.
skill set to kind of be like, yeah, I can do that, I did that. Yeah.
Right.
There is a lot that goes into every show. I mean, at least for us, I don't exactly remember how the Voice does their things, but when I was on the show on Idol, it was, two shows a week, but there was so much stuff that we had to do throughout the week. I mean, it was one day of a commercial shoot. There was like a lot of bumps, a lot of like random video stuff, that interviews, and we had our mentors that would come every week, and that took quite a bit of time. But you're also trying to pick out a song for that week, and then also, they're trying to get you to pick out a song for the next week as well because they have clearing issues.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it's so much, and I don't really know how I made made it through. I feel like right when the show ended, I remember my wife walking up on stage and like giving me a big hug and just being like, I, I'm done. I'm done.
Right.
I need to like breathe for a little bit. And I don't want to do any of this right now because it's just been, not only is it a lot of work, but it's the most stressful thing in the world that I've ever done.
100%.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Chris, let me ask you, for Idol, do you guys, from the beginning, do you get to pick your own songs, or are they? I mean, I know there's clearing issues and stuff that you mentioned, but that's what made me think of it. Is it your call what you sing every week?
yeah, I mean, yeah, they were actually really good about that. I don't know how, like sometimes I would butt up against someone else that picked the same song. It's like, hey, it's Michael Jackson week, and both of you guys want to do Man in the Mirror or something like that, and then we'd have to figure that out. Or maybe you're trying to do. I know Adam Lambert had some deal with like Led Zeppelin. Uh, they had never cleared a song for Idol before,
Mm.
but he like I think he made them and they were excited about him singing one of their songs, so
Nice.
because he's going to do it justice. um but yeah, I feel like they let us kind of roam free. Now they did give us like a massive pack of songs that were already cleared that they didn't have to go get cleared,
Mm-hmm.
which was nice. Like it was nice to kind of search through, but I don't feel like I ever really looked at that. Um,
Right.
and which maybe made their job harder, but I think it made for better song choices. And me doing Heartless or something like that,
Which
that
was
was
dope.
not,
That was so dope,
thank
by the
you.
way.
That was not pre-cleared. I don't really know how it got cleared, but it did. And or like Falling Slowly from the Once movie, because it was like we were doing songs from the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
that was definitely not on anybody's radar for people to sing. So, but I
Right.
just love the song. So
Right.
yeah, they were really great about. Maybe they were just good to me. I don't know, but
Tony,
it
how was it?
was.
How was it for you, Tony?
Yeah, by the time we got into it, it was, I think the coaches were drunk on power come season two. Man, it was like they had a hit. They got NBC,
Mm.
like, gave them all of the money. We got the Super Bowl presentation that year. Like, they
Sick.
just they were drunk on it, and I think that's why Adam picked like 99 Problems, because it was like, if they, it's like, yeah, crazy, like, okay, we could do that. But it was definitely a dialogue, with the coach, you and your coach, kind of picking the right song, and again, like, Adam is super competitive and like really cunning and like a chess player kind of guy, and we wanted to like attack. Once it got into this weird thing with Christine and all this kind of stuff, it became like, Adam was just trying to like get her via me, and I was like, this is fun. Sure, I'll do this. But there was one time when there was a miscommunication when they heard I wanted to do Britney's Baby One More Time, and I had said something like, what I'd love to do is take a pop song and turn it on its head, like that band Travis did with
Yeah.
Hit Me Baby One More Time, and
Yeah.
really revealed like the complexities of the song, and
Mm.
actually realized that's not a bad song. I
Yeah.
want to do something like that. Well, in Adam's mind, he'd heard that I wanted to do Baby One More Time. Like, I
I
do
see.
not want to do Baby One More Time. But we wound up coming around to that because it just, as far as my narrative and the story and the whole Christina thing, it would actually be a pretty good song. He was
Good
like,
fun, right?
I'm not here to tell you that singing a Britney Spears song is the right call. I'm here to tell you it's the only call. And it was like,
Oh, Ooh.
But he, that was just him being like, soft bully. But I wanted to do this really obscure Stevie Wonder song from the Jungle Fever soundtrack called "Make Sure You're Sure," which no one has really ever heard except me. Maybe I don't know why. The whole soundtrack is amazing, but this one particular song is just, this has been one of my go-to sit down at the piano and just belt it out kind of jams. And I'm like, man, I think I could just come out there, sit at the piano, and play this thing, and really, connect. And they said something to me that was pretty interesting that I maybe you guys can attest to. I'm guessing maybe Chris, you would disagree, but they said, people are as apt, if not more, to vote for a song than they are a singer or a performance. Like if you pick the right song, people are just going to vote for that because they love that song, or that's an anthemic thing. Whereas an obscure Paul, actually, the band leader of the show, he had said, "Listen, man, an obscure cover is a one-way ticket home." Right. And I was like, "Oh, come on, really? You don't have that kind of faith in the viewers, man." Right. But the more I thought about it, I was like, "All right, damn it." So we did wind up doing the "Baby One More Time" thing and had a lot of fun with it and kind of rocked it out a little bit, and it was a good time. But yeah, the song selection thing was that's a big deal. It's a big part of the equation, obviously.
It is a big deal. I will say I do agree with Paul and them on that. This type of show, I feel like you got to do, for me anyway, I feel like you have to do stuff that they know, because you could win if you could win the audience over before you even start singing,
right,
then that can only help you. You know what I mean? So that was very, I had a list of songs that I went into. I actually called it my Oprah list, because before The Voice, I was thinking, well, if I ever one day I could get on Oprah and sing one of these songs, these are the songs that I want to sing.
Yeah.
And so I had this list, and I don't know if it was like this for you, Tony, when going into the live shows, I just had the song was kind of sent to me, like, this is the song that you're doing for the next show. And I was, and it was "Every Breath You Take," which is a great song.
Yeah,
Another song I had sung before, and it's not one of my Oprah songs, or what I call my wheelhouse songs. And I was, I was a firm believer that, like, listen, if you want to even try to compete, you have to sing a wheelhouse song every time, because everybody else is going to be singing. You have to assume everybody else is singing their wheelhouse songs, and you want to at least feel like you have a chance against somebody singing this monster song. So I had this list, but they had given me "Every Breath You Take," and I didn't feel right about it. And I was like, I just didn't feel like it was one of those songs for me. Yeah. So I emailed Adam, because all we had were emails for the coaches at the time. Yeah. So I dropped him an email and I said, "Hey, man, and also too, I didn't know if this was his choice or if it was the producer's choice. I wasn't sure. Was it just what they could get cleared? I didn't know." Mm-hmm. So I said, "Hey, Adam, hope you're well. Excited to get out for the lives. I just got my song, and I was really kind of just walking on eggshells. I didn't want to offend if he had picked the song. I didn't want to be that guy where it was like, oh wow, here we go. Like, I give him a song and he's already fighting me on it. But I said I just wanted to check in with you. I forget how I worded it, but I was basically like, I love this song, but I also wanted to take this opportunity to share with you this list of songs that I call my go-to songs that I would really love to do. But "Every Breath You Take" is great, but if you think one of these would be better, I would love the opportunity to do one. You know what I mean? So I'm still kind of putting it in his court, but also letting it be known that I would rather do one of these. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he wrote back, and I also sent him some links, some like YouTube links of me having performed these songs. So I sent him those. He wrote back and said, "You know what? These are great. Let's do Angel." So "Angel" by Sarah McLachlan, which is one of the songs. We get to this was like the second week of lives, I think. So I get to set like 2 days later or something, 3 days later, and we had already changed the song. We had already rehearsed it, And one of the producers, actually the creator, one of the creators of the show, came up to me. He's an executive producer, and he was like, "Javier, you changed your song." He's from Holland, so he had an accent, and he's, Europeans are very forward. They could, they let
Mm.
you know. And he was like, "Javier, you changed your song. I don't no, I don't like it. I don't like it. I think you should change it back." And I was like, "Oh, uh, you know, I'm like, really, you don't like this other song?" I was like, "I think it's a really great song." He said, "No, it's boring. It's boring, and I don't want to see you go home." You know, and in that moment, I had to decide whether I was going to listen to this guy that's not a musician, um, but he's an executive producer. He knows, or at least, assuming, that he knows what people want to see. Um, but I know, he had never even heard me sing Angel, and I've sung it in a bunch of shows throughout my career at that point. And I had to make a decision to whether I was going to listen to him or whether I was going to say, I'm going to stick to what I chose. And I said, you know what? I'll be able to sleep at night if I stick
Yeah.
to what I chose. Because if I
Yeah.
change it and then I go home, I'll never forgive myself.
Oh
So
yeah.
I told him, I said, I said, man, thank you for caring. And I'm sorry that I feel horrible that you don't like the song, but I really I think it's a good song. And it's a little late now because we already rehearsed it. I was trying to deflect. I was deflecting as much as I could. So then I ended up, and then he said, okay, fine. Good luck to you. And he walked off kind of,
passive.
pissed off. Yeah, a little passive aggressive. And then, I ended up singing the song, and it was the first song to crack the top 10 on the iTunes chart. And
There you go.
yes, and it was great. Everybody was excited, and then I saw him 2 days later, and he just came up to me. I don't even think he looked me in the eye. He was like, "Javier, congratulations." No, he said you were right. I was wrong. Congratulations. And he walked
There you
away.
go.
And that was it. That's all that was said. But
I want to say, yeah, I want to say I remember the comments that the coaches gave you. It might have been Blake who was like, people are going to buy tickets to see Javier Colon. Like
Yeah.
after you sang that song, they were just like, this is worth the price of admission kind of thing. And I was like, hell yeah, man. It was just like total ownership of that song, man. And good on you, mate.
Yeah, dude. The gut is like you gotta always trust that. Like it's the only thing that I think us as musicians like that we can like really hold on to because nothing really makes sense
right.
except for our like just general gut feeling about songs and lyrics or whatever.
Right.
So good on you, man, for sure.
Thank you,
Yeah,
man.
man.
I got lucky with that one.
That's fantastic. I love that. Well, shoot, man. I think we kind of danced around a few of these things that I was hoping to discuss, just like I knew we would. But I love how over the years there's always been a few of these things that you'll see on like BuzzFeed or whatever. I don't know, where are they now, kind of things. And
Yeah.
I figure I have the fortune of actually just asking you, where are you now? what's going on, and what's next, man? What can we tell people to keep an eye out for, or to click on, and maybe first, actually, how's your golf game in this COVID?
Hey,
Did you get some time
you
out
look
of
like you're about to
play?
play right now.
Man, I know this. I do have a golf shirt on right now. I did play this morning, if I'm being honest.
There,
I mean,
there you go.
or you outed me. The golf game is, right now I'm struggling, but at the end of last season, I live in Connecticut, so we only get
It's limited.
until it's limited. But at the end of last season, I was playing the best golf of my life because it was all that you could do.
Yeah.
So I did play a lot of golf last season. Got my handicap down to like a 5.7.
Come on.
I was excited about that, and now I'm probably playing like an 18 right now, which is not where I want to be, but it's all right. It's early. It's early in the season. We're still, it's only May. So
That's good. Yeah.
but yeah.
What do you got musically?
Oh, sorry. Yes.
No, that's fine, man.
So yeah, what else is going on? So Yeah, I mean, once things start to open up, it sounds like things are slowly moving in that direction. Actually, I got two trips to California, one, coming up tomorrow, and another one next week for two private shows. So I'm starting
Nice.
to get back out there. So the goal is to get back out and do some touring. Um, I was also during the pandemic, even before the pandemic, I had been talking with my alma mater, the Hart School of Music, which is in Connecticut, about me coming on and helping them with kind of create a commercial music program. And
Cool.
we
Yeah.
started kind of in that direction. It's not a program just yet, but I actually I had three composition students and two vocal students that I had for the last two semesters, and it was pretty fun. Being that that's actually my degree. My degree's in music education from the Hart School, so it's kind of cool to kind of come full circle and be on the other side and
Mm.
helping students. I mean, if I wasn't singing, I would absolutely be teaching because I wouldn't be doing any of the things that I'm doing now had it not been for my teachers who pushed me and who wouldn't let me say no to the performances and who like forced me to get on stage when I was so shy. So I'd love to give back in that way, and that's kind of why I majored in that. But so yeah, I was doing that. There's a possibility of me doing some more, in the years to come.
Mm-hmm.
We shall see. Before COVID hit, I had some aspirations of doing some Broadway stuff. Actually, I had started to audition
Yeah,
for some shows, and got a few callbacks for some of them. So that's something that I
That's cool.
hope to do.
That's
And
really
then
cool.
yeah,
also working on some new music, which folks are on me to put out. There's a couple uh, industry folks that are like, listen, you gotta put out a record, and I don't know whether I'm going to do a distribution deal or if I'm going to just do it on my own.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys have some insight on that. You can tell me what I should do, but it's but yeah, that's those are kind of the plans. It's all very loose, and you kind of seeing where things end up with how much we can travel and stuff.
Yeah. 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 Chris, how about you, man?
absolutely. So we've this is our fourth reschedule of that European tour that me and David did, which honestly I feel for agents during this time. Like he's had to book us the same tour four times and made $0. So I just it's just I really feel for agents at the moment. But we rescheduled that. That's gonna happen hopefully in October.
Mm.
We'll see what international travel is going to be like, but we're all vaxxed up, and hopefully that gets us over there, and hopefully venues are going to open up and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
we are uh, we are kind of excited about it. Just the idea of it, I'm excited about. I love it playing shows, but we just don't know for sure if it's going to happen yet or not. As far as like just so I've tried to like take this year and be like, hey, I just want to release music throughout this year because I don't know what shows are going to look like. Um, so we've got a handful of songs that I'm going to release throughout the year, maybe closer to like 10, but we'll just release them song by song. Um, and the next on the docket, Tony for producing is one of our tunes. So I'm excited about that, man.
Nice, man.
I think people will dig that one.
Yeah.
Which I know we've written a couple, but I think we both know which one I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I'm eager to hear it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, what I just appreciate um, your writing, man. You're a killer writer. So,
Well,
um,
likewise, man. And it's I figure maybe the next time the three of us get on a Zoom, we could be putting pen to paper and taking a
That's
that'd be
stab
what
at
I'm
it.
great.
talking about right there.
Yeah, man.
I'm
Because
in.
it is. It's interesting because you get into it takes a while. And people always joke about Nashville being a 10-year town, and there's, for various reasons, that's kind of true. But I think one of them
Mm,
is the sake of finding your people, finding your people that you connect well with. And again, I think, the more you have a shared vernacular and shorthand with people and a shared experience, you just it's that much easier when you put your heads together on something, and you know where someone's coming from, especially when you get to know them. And if they're an artist, you're writing for an artist, not just for pitching or sync, but like when you're writing for an artist, you
yeah.
you get to know their vernacular and their narrative. Like Javi said, I mean, if we were writing for Javier right now, we wouldn't be writing a "Ooh Baby Baby" song. Be writing like a, I'm a good man kind of song, whatever. And
Yeah.
just to kind of get to know people a little better. But but yeah, guys, this has been really cool, and I'm so grateful for your time, and that you both seem to have made it through this wild ass time with flying colors, and your wits and head about you, and your creative stride, and your connection to family, and all those things, all those super super important things. But we'll be sure to spread the word on your new works, and look forward to what's to come for both of you, man.
I appreciate it, man.
Tony.
We have to do a part two, man. There's so much more that we
I know, right?
so much more under the surface that
I want to
we
tell that
could
one
discuss.
story about that one time Adam said such and so. Yeah.
I
Man,
feel you.
listen,
I want to hear those stories, and also I feel like I already have a million questions that I want to ask you guys just about differing idol voice stuff. So
yes.
Yeah. Well, hey man,
part two.
we'll do part two for the next season. Maybe we'll get David Cook on the line as well, and then
Yeah, come on, David.
we'll put him against some ropes. But you guys, all the best to you. Thanks again.
Thank you, man.
Thanks, Tony.
Yeah, man.